Hey, thanks for watching 4Color Commentary. I'm Mark Allen, and this is part 6 of my Atlas Seaboard retrospective. I feel like this may take a little bit longer because of subject matter, but also just because I am dog tired and had a busy day yesterday, and the rest of the weekend is going to be busy as well. But I wanted to slip this in because I'm going to be looking at another Atlas Seaboard title, and I want to state something first of all. Atlas Comics or Atlas Seaboard Publications, it gets it has been called, of course, as I've noted in the past, it's been called Vengeance Incorporated. It's been widely stated that it was meant to be, that was started out of anger towards Marvel and towards Cadence and all that by Martin Goodman, because Chip did not stay in a high position there in Marvel. And that all has been, I think, to my estimation, it's been, that has been proven. Enough people have said it that to some degree that was the case. But one thing that I take issue with is that it said that from the beginning they wanted to be like Marvel. And I think that's only half true. I think the appearance of the comics with the Atlas Comics border across the top and just just that kind of design, I think that they meant for them to look like Marvel Comics so that when they got shelf space in stores and drugstores and stuff, supermarkets and stuff like that, that they could possibly be mistaken for Marvel Comics. So I think that's kind of weak to hope that. It could be just that was a really seen as a really effective design, and that they, with the company's name as a banner across the top. But, but whatever the case, whether that's true about the covers or not, I do not believe from at the beginning that they were trying to be like Marvel as far as their stories. And Alan Kupperberg has been quoted as saying the same thing Alan Kupperberg, Jeff Roven has said the same thing, that being like Marvel didn't come until closer to the end when they realized their sales figures were so bad. And so, anyway, I think at the beginning they were trying to do something different. And the comics were, everybody that reads that has actually read them admits that the comics were edgier. They were darker. They did not have the feel of a Marvel comic. I say all that as an intro here because this comic that I'm looking at today is really just markedly true. Those things are markedly true. This comic, this character has been called a knockoff of one of Marvel's stables, and that wasn't the truth until the third issue, okay? And I'll explain that as we go. But I am looking at today the comic The Brute. This is the character that people say, oh, he was a Hulk knockoff, okay? Now let me explain very quickly. Well, let me get into creative teams first of all. It started out in issue 1, written by Mike Fleischer, penciled by Mike Sikowski, inked by Pablo Marcos, and so you got a good creative team there. Got all individuals who have done good things, great things, and that were really enjoyable things in the comics world. But as far as this being a Hulk knockoff, certainly was not the case in the beginning. And in the beginning, well, let me explain the origin of this character. This character was supposed to be basically a caveman, an early man who was frozen in ice, and then was discovered later on in modern times. Now, before somebody goes up, oh, Captain America. No, Captain America, let me make this clear. The story of Captain America, that is not where the idea of being frozen in ice and in suspended animation started. It did not begin there, okay? There have been many movies and stories that talked about that had as their subject matter the possibility of an early man being frozen in ice and being awoken later, okay? And I think of a couple of movies right off the bat. Encino Man, of course, a comedy, was one of those, but also there was another one. There was another one, a drama, a serious one about a caveman back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s, I believe, who was, you know, thawed out, and then they put him in an artificial environment to match his, and he realized one day that it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a real place, and he flipped out. And so there's that story. I can't remember that movie. Comment down below if you remember the movie I'm talking about. It was a great movie, okay? I say all that to say, you know, this is no knockoff of Captain America, and I don't believe a knockoff of the Hulk. Here's the first appearance, the splash page, Night of the Brute issue #1, and great Mike Sekowsky illustration there, with just a very impressive looking character there. Well drawn, very, very scary, okay? Now, here's what I don't get right away. That in the origin story, he is regular flesh tone and the story of his past until he's frozen in ice, and then I guess because it was so cold, even when he was frozen and then thawed out, he was blue for the rest of his days, I guess just because he was so cold. But let me mention a couple of things about this book. This book, of course, was very violent for the time and very dark. Now, it wasn't Underground Comics violent, but the very opening of them is spoilers ahead. As I say, you should always assume spoilers for these Atlas retrospectives. But he kills 2 of 3 boys who discover him in a cave. 2 of 3 young boys. And so, and he kills them in rather, the descriptive, they're not blood or anything, but the descriptions are rather grisly, okay? Slamming their bodies into the rock walls and all of that. So you've got a few cases of that just within the first issue. There's another one where he grabs the father of those 2 boys that he killed early on, and he slams him into a wall, killing him. And so this is not a Hulk type creature. This is much more of a Frankenstein type creature. This has more of a late movie feel, which to my mind is a good thing. Okay. Shout out to those who grew up in Tulsa watching Channel 8's Plenty Scary Movie on Friday nights. Okay. A lot of times they showed the B or even C rate horror movies, but they were great stuff. They were schlocky. They were just neat stuff. They were fun to watch, and you laughed at them sometimes, but they were still entertaining. This was entertaining to me. It just was, and it didn't feel at all like a Marvel comic in issue 1 or in issue 2. In issue 2, you've got the Brute being kidnapped by a mad scientist, whose Igor type assistant, hunchback, bad eye, everything, every trademark of an Igor, if you will. Only he's named Eric. Okay, but he just you got this guy, this scientist kidnaps the Brute, who incidentally survived a plane crash earlier on after killing the pilots, of course. And no, I guess that was the beginning of issue 2. That's what it was. And he killed the pirates. And so anyway, the scientist takes him back to his lab and puts a mind control device in his mind, in his brain. And then when he wakes, the scientist promptly has the Brute kill Eric, okay, and kill his years-long trustworthy manservant and assistant. So anyway, really wild stuff, weird, wild stuff. And it doesn't, again, this doesn't feel he wants to use him. This man also created some reptile man, the scientist did. And so he just felt like the Brute would fit in perfectly with his creations. And so, it's got a very early, like, pre-Marvel horror feel to it. Okay. Nothing superhero-ish about it. Nothing really redeemable about this monster, except that he does care for one woman. There's one woman that he would defend and kill for, okay, and he responds to her, but otherwise he's a murder machine, okay. So, and I want to show you something, because here's where the switch comes in, where they marvelize this character was in issue 3. Here he is on the last page of issue number 2, okay, and he really looks nothing like the Hulk. He just doesn't look like that. The pants, the vest, the caveman bone necklace, everything, has a very unique look in my mind. And I was enjoying this comic. I really, really was. Again, in that schlocky kind of way, until issue 3. Let me show you exactly how he shows up at the beginning of issue 3. Purple pants and all. Here's where evidently the edict came down. We have to make these books more like Marvel books. And so there he is. There's the bluish furry Hulk, you know, killing and eating a grizzly bear. All right. You had some strange kind of character personality shifts as well, especially in the police chief. I'm not going to go into that. Read the books again, because these books will not break your bank and they're worth reading. So anyway, the last issue also kind of softens him a bit. You could tell, trying to be more like Marvel. They softened him. They tried to make him sympathetic, giving him a past story with a wife and a child who were killed by other raiding cavemen, okay? And so now they're trying to make him sympathetic. And also, he doesn't, strangely enough, he doesn't kill anybody in the 3rd issue, okay? And so nobody dies. And at the end, nobody is killed by him, I should say. And at the end, they introduce a character, seemingly a hero, who comes in, but there's a backstory to him as well that I won't really give away. But he comes in to defeat this monster, and then proceeds to, the issue ends with him proceeding to basically give an ultimatum: either compensate me for destroying the brute, or I'll turn on you. So anyway, you know, all of a sudden, it is Marvelized. And so there you go. There's kind of the story of the brute. Now, again, I enjoyed it until issue number 3. That's when they homogenized it, Marvelized it, and poor Marvel impression it was. But anyway, I still enjoyed it. I still think you ought to hunt these books down. They are not hard to get. They're not hard to find. Now, if you're like me, I like to find books in the wild. So comic shops, bargain boxes, comics conventions, that kind of thing. That's where you're going to find them for the best price. Even on eBay, though, they're not going to break the bank. You may pay around, you know, $10 a comic, $5, and then $5 shipping, or maybe a little less. It depends. Better if you can find them in, you know, multiple copies in an auction. But anyway, that's the brute. Fun stuff until the end, and still, you know, enjoying going through these old Atlas Seaboard books. They're worth it, and love the history of the company. It's just a really neat chapter in comics history. But anyway, that's it. That's the brute. Hey, listen, I want to encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, but certainly comment, as I always say. Comment. Talk about, you know, what you like about the Atlas Seaboard books, what you don't like. But, again, just cool stuff there. Fun reads, and better than most of what's being turned out today. There, I said it again. You know, one of these days, somebody will come down on me for that. Or maybe not. I don't know. I tend to think more and more readership, even today, thinks that the old stuff's better than the new stuff, even some of the young readers. But that's just me. But share the video, even if you feel like it. I've noticed on the analytics on my channel, there is quite a bit of sharing of these videos going on. I appreciate that. I like that. I like the idea that people are doing that. So anyway, thanks for watching 4 Colored Commentary, and we'll see you next week.